All right, so here's the information we've gotten from this function. Here's our function. Here's the information we've gotten from it. When I get to my graph part, the first thing I'm going to do is put on the x and y intercepts because those are easy to plot. 0, 0 is this point. Negative 3, 0 is over here. 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is right there. And then, of course, the y-intercept is 0, 0. We've already put that point on there. What this tells me, remember we said this is going to be like a roller coaster ride, so it's going to have to go through these things like that somehow, okay? Well, the way that that's going to work is we're going to do our end behaviors and then find out if the loop is above or below the axis. And here's how you do that. On the ends, we've already done that. Because it's an even, we know they both go together, and in positive, they both go up. If that leading coefficient was negative, they'd both go down. And if it was an odd degree, one would go up, one would go down, or vice versa, depending on the leading coefficient. All right? Now, to find out what goes on between negative 3 and 0, and between 0 and 4, we're going to plug in a number between here for the x's to see if that comes out to be positive or negative. If it's positive, that means the hoop, the lump, whatever, the roller coaster ride goes above the x-axis. If I plug in a number between 0 and negative 3 and it comes out to be a negative, that means the connection is below there, okay? So you can see right here, negative 1 is between there. So I'm going to plug in a negative 1 for that. I'm going to do it right over here. See if you can see that. If I plug in negative 1, that'll be negative 1 right there, and then put a negative 1 in there with negative 1 plus 3 squared, and negative 1 minus 4 cubed. So that's still negative 1. Clean up the exponents. That's negative 1 plus 3 is 2 squared is a positive 4. That's negative 5 cubed is a negative 125. Now remember, I could care less about what the number is. I just need to know, is it positive or negative? What is a negative times a positive times a negative? That right there is going to be a positive number, which means these two things are connected above the axis. So that needs to be a smooth curve, because roller coaster rides are always smooth. Don't make it come hit and jag off like it's a absolute value thing. It needs to be a very smooth curve, and it's going to come to here. Then do the same thing, pick a point between here. Let's pick positive 1. If I put a 1 in for the x's in the original function, that's 1, and that's 1 plus 3 squared, and that's 1 minus 4 cubed. That's going to be a 1. That's going to be 4 squared, which is 16, and that's going to be negative 3 cubed, which is negative 27. Again, I don't care what that number is. A positive times a negative is a negative. That means it's negative, which means it connects below the axis. So that's going to be that picture. There's the picture of my polynomial function.